This is probably going to be my last video for a while unless something important happens, like I get information or things that I just become aware of. But this is basically part review or a summation of things, if you will. Um, but this is very elementary, very simple things. Okay. So what I do is I ask questions that actually, which I already know the answer to, but I ask questions as a teacher so that other students can begin to realize, okay, why are you asking the question? And that is so we can start stimulating why we ask questions, because that's how we learn. So sometimes a teacher will ask the question even though I know the answer to it, because I know the answer within me because of the way that I love to experience the cosmos, which is my journey, not your journey. So when I pick up a cell phone, for example, when I turn this thing on, this phone, when it's sitting all by itself, okay, doesn't have any energy other than the battery that is in it. Okay? But it has an operating system and it has programs that are in that phone that binary artificial intelligence has programmed into that phone. So the phone represents binary artificial intelligence. Okay? So the only way that artificial intelligence can operate is if I choose to put the conscious energy that represents what I am, in which I now have an interface with those programs and that operating system. Okay? So at the end of the day, when I ask myself, would I rather have a communication relationship in living spirit, my living spirit, which is what love is in living spirit, living in the light, and the great living spirit that is in nature? Well, the question to that is obvious. I would rather spend my time in nature than spending time on a cell phone. Okay? Because it's beautiful to be in a natural living system that is not artificial. I prefer to be with something that is real, is living. The living spirit that is living in the light that represents the living energies that are in nature. So that means that I have a bidirectional relationship with my energies and her energies, because my energies are living energies as hers are living energies. So I have my waves that are vibrating with the waves that are in nature, because those are living energies. So I'm choosing the realm. I'm choosing the realm that I prefer to live in because I'm in alignment with her waves of communication. So I'm having a beautiful relationship with the living spirit of a goddess. That's how we know we're native to the planet, because we are in alignment with the girl that is in the planet, because the avatar and the DNA assembly that she put together for spirit to experience its light spirit body, to spin its Merkaba in the biotechnology that she provided for us to be in, allows us to be in alignment with her. So naturally you will find us living in the trees in nature. Okay? So the only time that I would have ever had a phone with me, because for years I would be in nature, is simply if I needed to call 911 because of an emergency. That's it. I didn't spend any time on a phone because I'd rather spend time with her. Okay? So that's when I realized when I was being activated, which means I was getting a signal communication that said, hey, things are changing. We're coming to the end of this timeline. It's time to move on. Okay, and then I began to realize when I got a phone and I began scrolling through YouTube and Facebook and all the rest of it, I get it. I realize exactly what's happening. We got to start waking people up, or they're not going to realize what they've been held captive to release themselves from it. because that parasitic binary artificial intelligence that set up the entire communication system through all of its Wi-Fi, all of its 1G to 4G, was all meant for humanity to collapse its own timeline, because this particular artificial intelligence is parasitic, which means it's writing program algorithms into its unconscious memory in order to capture its state of consciousness to keep it running. Better release myself from the artificial intelligence, which means I do not want to have a relationship with a machine that are the supercomputers that they set up, that is connected to everything that it runs, which is the electrical grid, which is your power grid, which is all your machines, all your appliances, all your houses, all your electrical substations, all of your gas stations, all of your Walmart stores, all of your, the entire civilization was set up and being run by parasitic artificial intelligence. Well, see, if you're out in nature and you're living in a tree house that you built, like the one that I lived in, I had a kerosene lantern if I needed light at night to read. Otherwise, if you'll notice in Hawaii in particular, most Hawaiians that live in the islands, when the sun goes down, most people are in bed asleep by around 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's the time I usually was in bed. It was not long after the sun went down. And then we were up as soon as that light began to come up. Bang, we're up. Light goes up, light goes down. When the clock is set, right when the first light appears, as soon as the light comes up and when the light comes down, okay, the clock is set to the light and to the darkness, to the light and to the darkness. So when they set the clock, which is the movement of electrons, set to the timetables of the movement of those electrons that is moving through everybody's whose clock, which is set to the clock in their DNA, set to a deficit of 007, then they realize that they're running on a deficit, which means they're draining their own battery of electrons to power the light, because the movement of everything, which is a movement of electrons through all their circuits and the circuit boards from which were established, from which artificial intelligence is running it, means that everybody has a relationship. I shouldn't say everybody, but those that have a relationship with that system, because they do not have a relationship with nature. That's the Roman Draco, parasitic, demonic communication system that everybody is connected to, which is the artificial intelligence system that they set up. Hence, why the results were what they were in the election. That was the artificial intelligence that did that. How many people are talking about that across the wide spectrum of communications? This was parasitic binary artificial intelligence that everybody's using as a communication system in their laptops, their desktops, and their phones. How many can release themselves from something that is parasitic, binary, and artificial and return to go live in nature and throw their phones away, which means shut the system off? What do you think would happen? Can they walk away from their homes that run on electricity? Smart meters designed to do damage to them? Can they walk away from their cell phone towers that are already set up? Do you realize what has to come down and what has to be disassembled? We're talking about an entire civilization that is running on parasitic artificial intelligence all across this planet. That's how bad it is. So in a very real way, what we're talking about here is we are bidirectional beings, hyperdimensional beings. But when you realize how your magnet works as a great attractor, okay, which means you are attracting what it is that you are. Okay, so if your magnet is attracting higher frequency light or electrons, high speed electrons, then you are naturally running at a high rate of speed. Where do you think it's possible to be running at a higher rate of speed? Connected to a cell phone and a desktop and a laptop, which is binary artificial intelligence, or being out in nature while you're with something that is trinary, which is positive, 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 which is a tesseract. Hypercube, hyperspeed, hyperspace, filling up more geometric space. That means that the spin of our Merkaba is going to go faster being in nature, isn't it? Which means we never needed the artificial intelligence in order to communicate, did we? No, because I have a communication relationship with everything that is in nature. Because everything that is in nature is living spirit. That's the great living spirit of Mother Nature. So now you begin to realize that when you're connected to something that is parasitic, that is binary artificial intelligence, that has no love and it has no compassion for anything that is in nature, then what do you think will happen? Everybody that is connected through it, in which it's writing parasitic algorithms into its unconscious memory, will be there in order to destroy nature. And that is why everything that everybody did that was connected to it, in which it had a relationship with something that is parasitic in a bidirectional mirror, means that they were a parasite. And a parasite in and of itself is going to do what? Feed on everything that is in nature until nature collapses. But she can't allow that, because otherwise you end up destroying a living biosphere. And that can be measured by the pollution in the air, the pollution in the water, the pollution in the soil. That was the result of having a relationship with parasitic artificial intelligence. It programmed these beings in order to destroy that which was giving it love. Okay? That goes back to a video that I did one time when I said, why would anybody want to hurt us when we love you? Because it's dead. The dead is feeding on the living to drain our own battery so that we become dead. Which means we are Xeroxing or mimicking that which is dead to become dead ourselves. Which means we're choosing to kill off our own basic life support system in order to become what it is, which is spiritually dead. Because it's not among the living. So this is why when I walk through a town, I can see how many people are dead. That's the difference between a machine and that which is living spirit, which is giving love to everything in nature, which allows everything in nature that we have a relationship with to thrive. We end up having thriving relationships with everything that represents the air, the water, the soil, and the fire. It cleanses itself when it needs to renew, because that's what happens. So anyway, it is the units of consciousness on this planet that don't realize that they are draining essentially the life force energy in themselves and everything else around them by having a relationship with their communication system that is parasitically run by binary artificial intelligence that has programmed it in which to do that. Anyway, that's it. Have a great day. I love you all. I hope that you all can walk away from the parasitic machine and begin to have a relationship with the great living spirit in nature, and begin to at least understand and realize the difference between the two and the one that you would prefer to have a relationship with. That's up to you. I chose my pathway. Have a great day. Bye now.